Lock the box, load them up, strap it down. We are broadcasting from Galaxy's Edge tonight to a cavalcade of people in and around the universe. But tonight we have a special guest, rocking and rolling from all points, shooty, stabby, and jumpy. We have Mr. John Doc Spears. How are you, sir?
Great to be here.
Thank you very much for coming out, man. We really appreciate it.
Anytime.
Oh, don't you threaten me with a good time. I will get you on this stick way too often. Right next to him, we have fellow Galaxy's Edge author, J.R. Hanley.
Good evening, good evening, good evening.
Helping make sure I stay on topic, on point, and cease and desist with all dad jokes. We have Dark Ops Daniel.
Man, you got to really work on your phrasing, but glad to be here.
What's wrong with a dad joke?
You're just trying to pander to a certain audience, man, and the dad jokes don't have it. We have
I love dad jokes.
Right? Dark Ops 91, Archangel. How are you, sir?
Pretty good. Glad to be here.
Right on. It's a little weird that your mouth didn't sync up with the sound, but it's just like one of those what is it, kaiju movies from Japan. But speaking of kaiju movies, we have Dark Ops 13. Knucklehead is our featured insider today. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Glad to be here.
Right on. So as we get into it and start pouring over the details and the mission briefs and all that, Daniel, what's been going on in Discord?
Well, like I said, I'm ready. Obsidian Crow Workout Bay has been really popping and locking. The guys have been doing really fantastic over there. They got a lot of plans going on, and they're sharing their workout routines. Offline is actually making a lot of progress. I guess he's broken one of his weight goals, so he's just plugging along. He kind of plateaued for a bit, but now he's back on track. So he's well on track to getting some free T-shirts from me and another member.
Oh, right on.
Some Galaxy's Edge ones, and then of course our other channel that we're gonna show some love, as always, is gonna be the Outpost Zulu. If you ever want to look into seeing more about the 8-bit Galaxy's Edge game that's being created right now, then drop into Outpost Zulu discussion under content creation. Noob has been doing like some fantastic pixel work. He's been him and Carrot have been just really plugging along. It's like they got their full-time jobs, but in their free time they're just coming home and they're just hammering out this game, and it looks fantastic. You can see some of the videos that they've started, and it's going to be a multiplayer game, so we can each hop in and go shoot some cubes and get rid of those nasty frog boys.
Right. I talked to him for a few minutes over the week, and super cool dude, producing that 8-bit game. My first question was, bro, is this going to be like on mobile? He's like, whoa, one step at a time, because
very ambitious.
Right? How cool would it be to just sit there and you're waiting at the doctor's office or something like that, and you look on Discord and you got Doc is shaking his head because somebody's asked him like the fourth stupidest question in the universe. You got Jason hanging out saying, no, I can't hang out, I have to write, and all of a sudden everybody starts popping off in that 8-bit game. That'd be pretty damn cool.
I mean, in all honesty, it is entirely possible because it's based on Unity, which I believe can be cross-platform.
Yep.
And it's simple enough, so it should be able to make it on phones. But again, I know he probably told you once we get on to a working prototype, which should be insiders will actually probably get to see it first on the show, because he might be trying to make it for the Insider Show or the next public podcast. I don't know. We'll see. It depends on how quickly he can hammer this stuff out. But we might have a working prototype and some servers that people can drop into and start playing.
Right on. And, before we go any further, it's very important to note that Matt, a.k.a. NetherOps Matt or Ingram Matt looked very deep in thought at that particular moment when we launched him into the video.
Yeah, I was indeed, mate. What's going on, everyone? Sorry I'm late. Had to have a shower.
Crash any forklifts today?
Yesterday.
The Air Force is going to take your license for that, Matt.
I kind of almost ran into a C-130, but that's a story for another time.
What? No, that's a story for now.
Oh.
What did you do?
How do I start this?
Once upon a time.
I thought it was a good idea to go from backwards to forwards at full speed, do some sort of a burnout, but I lost control of the forklift and I had to use a handbrake to stop it.
So you went from a sweet wheelie into a sweet drift and almost into a multi-million-dollar accident.
Pretty much a good
It's not the
summary.
like.
To be honest, I had the shits. I just wanted to go home, and I was sick of our foreign forces fucking me around. But anyway, that's the story.
And this is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah, I'm the exact
Knucklehead.
reason for that too.
In Knucklehead, you are now my favorite. You used my tagline. Right on. So speaking of Knucklehead, let's go right into our featured insider. So who are you and what's on your Atlanta poster?
Oh, bloody hell. So
Good answer.
Join this lovely band of misfits because Facebook is a lovely thing. Whoever does the advertising for that, give them a gold star. It ended up snagging me, jumped in, found the Discord, and been chugging along at that. Just finished Turning Point. I've never cried at work. Thanks you, whoever wrote it. I hate you.
What was it that got you? Was it the end at on Ankylor?
Yeah. The private first class going down, blaze of glory.
That was oh god. But come on, how cool is MCraven?
Okay, he is my favorite. I've known sergeants like him. I've seen them. They don't give a flying whatever.
Now, the only thing that Nick and Jason did not get right about MCraven was he didn't yell at somebody for not wearing their PT belt in a war zone.
Hell. I feel my brain cells committing suicide one by one to that one.
Yep.
Yeah, the point of science fiction is escapism, not
Yeah. If I see another PT belt, I'm done.
Right on.
I was in Forward Observer.
Oh, right on. Right on. Who'd you roll with? Did you roll with an infantry unit or armor?
I rolled with infantry. 143.
All right.
Yeah. Good guys.
sweet.
He sounded like he was brushing his shoulder off a little bit there. Yeah, infantry. 143.
SF, no big deal.
No. So, FOs, we are the redheaded stepchildren. No one likes us. We have to roll with the medics.
Could be worse. You could be Cav Scouts.
We want to be combat controllers.
Or a tanker.
Or tanker.
That was so. I've always thought FOs were badass. You know, and
Regular
it's called math, right? And you're killing people.
This is true. Unless you give a lieutenant a map. Which I'm surprised I have not seen before in the book. A lieutenant with a map.
What was the old saying that forward observers are the only guys who kill people on a routine basis with weaponized math?
This is true. Trigonometry is a lovely thing.
Knucklehead, I don't know if there's this awesome iPhone app called Call for Fire, where you can where the average dude can live out his FO fantasy.
What?
It's called Call for Fire. It's written by a vet, an OS. I'm almost certain. Call for Fire, awesome app. Download that bad boy. Puts you through about a dozen scenarios. Has a tutorial. Teaches somebody how to mill, how to go through the whole Call for Fire routine, and you get to adjust for fire and do all that. Puts you through a different scenario. So it's I highly recommend it. So Knucklehead, it'd be old hat for you, but you should check it out and see if you think it's legit.
I will. And as long as I don't have to make a terrain sketch with a crayon.
Yeah, you are right, Doc. It is Aussie made. Yeah.
And it's $1.99 on the App Store right now.
It's
Hell yeah.
badass. It's totally badass. Yeah, and I'm with you. As long as I don't have anybody judging me for what my range card looks like and my trees don't look like trees, and stuff like that, I'm cool with it.
No one judged me about my creative ability. I can do math. I can shoot straight. Don't ask me to draw. I make stick figures.
Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with that, mate. Nothing wrong with that.
Our current game master was he was a Marine, and he did a little bit of forward observation. And now whenever he draws maps for dungeons and stuff in our game on his whiteboard, it's like, here's a cave, there's some trees and shit, and there's some woods, and they're just little squiggles for trees. And I was like, yeah, you were definitely.
They're happy trees.
You were an FO.
They're happy trees. All right?
There are no accidents. Just
So on that whiteboard, do you ever end up where you're like, dude, no machine gun nests in D&D, all right?
Yeah, but then he flips it because he's the DM, and he goes, well, then it's an archery nest.
Hey,
I can't argue with you.
Right.
There is guns in
Sorry that
D&D.
you lost. You didn't reach your objective because you forgot to subtract your magnetic declination from
Oh, God.
pace counts off. So,
Your spell missed because of the Coriolis effect. You should be ashamed.
Hey, I'm the guy who runs guns
Great
in
Northern
D&D.
Original.
All right.
is it a Foster's, Matt?
No, don't hurt.
Great Northern Original Lager, mate. One of the best beers
That's
you
two
get
in a
in
row.
Australia.
Hey,
It's
it's
2 in a
all
row
about
you haven't had a
Oktoberfest.
Foster's.
So, Knucklehead, have you read the whole series?
I'm working on it. I just finished Turning Point last night, and I'm about 30% with the next one.
Right
I
on.
just
Right
got
on.
into this maybe
Sweet.
a month ago.
Oh,
Month
dude, you're
with-
chewing through these.
I have no life.
What was your
I live
favorite
it through
so
you
far?
guys. Turning Point is now my favorite. Before that, it was Legionnaire.
Right on. So you're just burning through the main series, and then you're going to tackle some of the side stuff?
Yep. After this is off to Savage Wars.
Yeah,
boy.
I would say to try and tackle Imperator and or Tin Man in there somewhere. It'll give you a lot of insight into some stuff that is going on in the main series.
Yeah, you can mix and match those two pretty well as well.
Yeah, hell yeah. Do you have a favorite character?
Bear. I was Bear. All right.
Right on.
I am a
I've seen pictures
Burly
of this man. He
5'11",
does look like Bear.
just brick house.
Right on.
Hey, I was the guy
Yeah,
that gave
we
me
don't-
the
we don't
240 and
judge.
said, have fun.
Yeah, no
Yes,
doubt.
I was that guy that no brain cells.
Right on. Well, we need people who can pick stuff up and put it down. So,
that
do you have a
Hundreds
favorite?
of times.
Do you have a favorite secondary character?
Oh, I'm going to go with either Chun or Wraith.
Oh, right on.
Chun is the stereotypical NCO. Wraith is. I don't want to see him in Dark Alley.
Right on. Yeah, I have a morbid fascination with both Hogus and Laupak.
Ah, Laupak.
Yeah, I like Lau.
Did my plate carrier shrink, or did I just get fat?
Yeah.
No, it's did my plate
that's-
carrier
that's-
shrink and I gained 15 pounds.
There you
That
go.
was
Right. So,
So every time you say Lao Pack, you have to do the accent. Well, that's just the rules.
This is true. Walt has been falling down on the job, and he has not given us our Lao pack.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to hold
You're
on.
going to say, oh, this guy tell you loud packum.
Oh, hey, Matt, is that Foster's?
Perfect.
No, Foster's. I don't drink inferior beers, mate. I drink
So
the
you-
greatest.
Put some shrimp on the bobby.
Oh, stop.
Hey, it's all about the Oktoberfest brew.
Right. So what's on the outside? What other stuff besides GE are you into?
I do medieval Renaissance fighting, SCA, EMP.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You also a long point guy?
No, I do more axes, and I'm with a mercenary company for EMP.
Oh, right on.
They're called Savage Lands. Basically, orcs that don't care. They pay us in Twinkies and spam.
Oh God! What's the worst injury you've ever had?
Almost broke my collarbone from this little chick about 5'11" who hit with a rebar.
What?
Oh,
What?
It was basically a
This-
rhino-lined bat. It
This
felt
is-
like it hit me with rebar.
This is definitely EMP because that is not SCA approved weapon. I know this because I did marshaling for some of that stuff.
No, it's EMP.
Yeah.
I headbutt, I kick, I give people bear hugs and throw them down.
that's because you're 9 feet tall.
I'm only 5'11".
And to me, that's 9
Only.
feet tall.
All right.
Wide?
No,
Yeah, wide.
I'm wide, but not that wide.
Right on. Well, speaking of wide, we have Doc here, and it would definitely need to claw into some of the dark operator stuff that's been going on. I doubt in any of his exploits he's gotten to, don shiny metal armor and whack people with fall axes, but
No. Definitely not. Definitely not. Hey, let me digress because I'm a Knucklehead. When did you punch out of service?
I punched out 15.
Oh man, not that long. So I just doing what you're doing, having a group of cats to get together with, do something physical, get some aggression out. Are there other vets in the group?
Surprisingly, not in my group. I'm the only vet.
That's a shame. Well, then you get to be the bad influence on the rest of them, which, good on you, brother. Good on
Oh,
you.
yeah. I bring the mean.
Kids. But, man, that is such a mega important thing to do when you punch out. And, man, have a group of cats that you can hang with. If you got vets to hang with, so much the better. But that was like me. When I punched out, I was pretty much solo in the world. And it's a tough slog. It's a tough slog if you don't have a bunch of dudes that you can get together and throw down with. It's so good on you, man. That is awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, it kind of feels like Keel, honestly. When you punch out.
Now, Doc, is that why you stood up Forge Tactical?
The Forge Tactical thing came about. I punched out a SF about 1990 and got real brainy and thought I needed an education. Turned out I was wrong, but I spent a lot of time in education trying to better myself. It didn't work. But then just about a few years into the GWAT, I got brought back into things primarily as a trainer by other SF dudes. And I went to work for a dude named Pat Rogers, who ran a business called EAG Tactical. And he's a dude who really kind of invented that whole training industry, if you will. And I worked with him for a long time up until he passed. And then me and my partner, John Chapman, started Forge Tactical right after that to just kind of carry on the work of training law enforcement, military, and qualified civilians in tactics and procedures. So, yeah, it lets me keep my hand in. And that's my own kind of way of like medieval reenacting is jocking up and teaching good guys how to come home alive. And it's a great part of my life. I'm so grateful for it. It's always great to be around the boys.
Yeah, the boys.
Hell yeah! And how much of Forge Tactical ends up in some of the DO stuff that you're doing now?
I wouldn't say anything per se like that. Like our main character, our hero Kel Turner, who's kind of the world learns the story of what it's like to be a special operations Legionnaire through his eyes and things like that. He might be getting to the point now in about book 6 where he's going to take a little detour and do a little something else for a little while. But you didn't hear it from me. Certain aspects of like all of that where doing what me and what other guys have done, you're always working with people from other government agencies and other kinds of law enforcement and experts in their own field. And a lot of dudes like me end up taking some time and going out and working in those other fields as a civilian contractor and bouncing back and forth. And so there's certainly a little bit of that. But I'd say as far as, nothing like straight out of the Forge thing, though I did have a very interesting student about 2 months ago who I just have to say was the greatest jackass I've had the displeasure of meeting in a long time. And he like soured this entire class that we let him into, despite his like awesome SWAT credentials, and he'd been a former pilot. If you're listening to this right now, Jerry, hey, fuck you. Fuck you. But me and my brothers went back and it just soured everything. And I was just starting, or where was I? What book is it? I can't even remember what book I'm on right now, but I said like, Jerry will live in infamy. And when you get to that book and read pretty much like the first major set of battle sequences, you'll know it was written about a real person. Because he is such a jackass, and the way I wrote him, the quotes I used were almost verbatim.
This makes me happy
because it takes men to do what men do, and it's important that we all remember that we are men. And it's like, is that the speech you gave to the dudes on the flight line before you hopped into your F? So anyway, yes, sometimes the real world creeps into fiction.
Hell yeah. Yeah, there's always that guy, too. I mean, you got 12 dudes standing around trying to absorb an epic butt ton of knowledge from somebody who's just trying to lay it down. And you got that one guy sitting there going, well, back in the day, or even.
Oh, man, it was crazy because like sitting in this room of about 20 dudes, a guy sitting in the front row is comes from a very very important unit based out of a certain part of the country. And the dude sitting next to him is on the other side of the country who comes from a very important unit. And Jerry, our fearless leader, is sitting in the back of the classroom. And all I see is eyes this big in the rest of the room and eyes locked forward, wondering, it's like, when is Dr. Sizelove going to dick stomp this dude? I'm a different guy. I'm much different than I was back in the day where I would just flat out throat punch a dude. I try and be full of love and make everywhere like the trust nest. And we're all there for each other and stuff like that. So I got to a certain point of this gentleman's AAR where I just had to shut him down and send him out the gate.
Right on. Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, an AAR is supposed to be short and sweet. Get the info, drop the info, and adjust fire for so that you guys can either go out and drink or maybe get some sleep, get a meal, wash it off, something. When you got somebody waxing poetic for 30 minutes about being a man. That
good times. Yeah.
He was the one that said to piggyback on what the commander said.
Yeah, well, this guy, there's a great one. Oh, I used all of his best lines. I didn't even have to think about anything. It's this commander motivating his unit in an op order. The gym doesn't lie, and neither does the mirror, men.
Oh, God.
Did you just say this in front of a room full of adult men? Oh, Lord. So good times. When you come across it, you will know it.
Oh, man, that hurts my soul, but yet I'm so looking forward to it now.
It will be fun. It will be fun. It was fun writing.
Nice. The Facebook group for the fan group has been going absolutely bananas because of No Fail. They are just dropping all over themselves trying to design what they think a K-17 looks like.
Yeah, which was kind of cool. We're at a point so this is the third book in the series that just got released 10, 12 days ago. I'm totally just over the moon that dudes are like digging this and it's sparking conversation and thoughts. So, when I introduced this period of time of, good 2 to 3 military generations before the events of Legionnaire and talking about dark ops, what I introduced was the primary assaulter weapon system called the K-17. And when I wrote the book and it went up to Jason, and and he it's like, no, the Legion uses N16s at this period of time, and I had to say, Dark Ops wouldn't use an N16. It's like, why would Dark Ops, the covert special operations arm of the Legion, be using the same weapon that the Legion would use? That wouldn't make any sense, right? And they kind of. And they're gun guys, but God bless everybody who thinks they're a gun guy. You think you're a gun guy because you own a couple of guns, then you go shooting. Yeah, you're not a gun guy, right? It's like, so part of that I had to shoot back and I say, like, well, tell me, brothers, what's the difference between an XM177, a GAU5, a Car 15, and an M4? Question mark, blank stares. It's like, right, you don't dig the evolution of these things. So I can tell you a way, and I'm already writing it. It's already been planned out. Of course, I've already done it at this point. So, they're stuck with it. But yeah, surprise, it's yours whether you want it or not. But I knew where I was going with it, where how would our current season 1 Legionnaires end up with the N4? Which is, of course, most clearly an analog of the M4, right? If that makes sense. It's like it started in the same development how we ended up with the M4 today. In the beginning in the 60s, SF wanted a more optimal platform. And that was what was developed with, something you would think of as like the M4 today, a collapsible stock, something optimized to 14.5 to about a 16-inch barrel, more portable, just as effective. And that's pretty much what SF and carried throughout the late 60s and 70s and things like that. So our guys, right, what led to the Legion getting the N4? It's Dark Ops having the K-17 instead of the N16. And that's why now, our happy Legionnaires get a better weapon system.
Yeah, Marines used to get pissed when we were in theater, and we'd have the smaller platform, a little easier to get in and out of a vehicle, blah blah blah. And here they're lugging these muskets from Vietnam, and it's like
M16A 28s. We got it right this time. It's finally the best weapon system it should be, and it's barrel, and we leapt into the 21st century with 1 in 9 rifling. It's like, good job, guys.
Well,
we've done it. 3-round burst. We're proud of you. So
Doc, I watch Forgotten Weapons, and Ian tells me everything about guns, so I'm a self-certified expert.
Indeed, you are, my brother. I know that about you. Yeah,
YouTube expert.
I don't know Ian personally, but what a cool dude.
You can't be smart gun Jesus.
Great stuff. Highly recommend.
So
he actually sold me on the Yugo M48 that I saw for sale. I was like, wait, that's what that's based on? Shit, I'll get that.
Why not?
Yeah.
You should have one of everything.
Ken from YouTube is saying, I love that you guys introduced the less than pleasant aspects to the op.
Hey, Ken,
that gets glossed over in the books.
This
sucks.
is for you.
I don't get it.
Still no cup that I'm not pouring this into.
I think he's trying to talk about. I think he's trying to talk about no fail, where they're not having optimal cooperation across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about that a little bit, Doc?
I touch on that, I think, in just about every book that I write, where that's part of the deal. It's like, if it's just, our heroes, whip their lightsabers out and do a few somersaults, and, or you bust into a room and you kill 12 bad guys with a knife, it's like, oh man, that, there's a place for that. And believe me, I'm all about escapism and I love all of that. But, for what I'm trying to do, which is primarily I'm trying to reach dudes like us and veterans and other people who are more into the military experience. That's why I write thrillers. because it lets me tell something that involves a lot of procedure, a lot of detail, and it's very, very well received by the people who that's the product that they want. And so one of the big things is, everywhere you go, every kind of mission you do in special ops, you're working with somebody. You're working as the arm of foreign policy for your own government. You're having to work with the people who are there implementing that policy. You're working with host nation. You're working with conventional troops. And it's never just like, oh man, we're so glad to see you guys. We're going to leave you alone and just do your own thing. And if we can support you, that's why we're here, because we're all one team. And oh, if it only worked that way. It never works that way.
Well, apparently I'm also a bad spotter, because he was talking about wag bags.
Something completely different. Okay.
Yeah. He was talking about the repurposing the MRE outer casing in order to use it for human waste, so you don't pollute your environment as you're going through.
Well, that's a big deal in like strategic reconnaissance, where you're digging into a hidey hole and you're doing something like a stay behind. Always collecting your waste is part of that. So it's not a lot of fun to like whip out your LERP container for your buddy to take a dump in and then seal it up and like put it in your rucksack to carry out with you. Yes, it is pretty glamorous when you get right down to it, but right at the end of the day, that's not most people's favorite thing to do. And I tell a story in there, just like most of the things that I relate to, where Kel and the team are in this strat recon site that they've dug into, and they're there for quite a long time. And when that happens, right, nobody likes it, and it's not a lot of fun. But he's telling himself the story about how it could be worse, because there was a Legion experiment where they gave everybody appetite suppressants to try and, reduce appetite, reduce how many rations you'd have to take in. And at the end of that mission, they measured all these guys' performance, and they did everything and found out they consumed less calories and they were just as effective. But 2 weeks later, the side effect of the drugs became apparent. Everybody's teeth fell out. That's a real story. That's a real story that actually happened. That was a team that they were trying appetite suppressants out, and that's exactly what happened. These guys came back off this mission to see how well the appetite suppressants worked out, and on that A team, everybody's teeth fell out. So, good times.
Now, did they know they were taking the suppressants, or they were just throwing it in the food?
Oh yeah. It's like, here, guys, we're going to try this out. It's not. Before GW1 spun up, I got spun up to get trained up. I had left active at that point, and I was in 12th group back when SF Reserve was still around. I thought it'd be a cool thing. Maybe we'll jump on the weekends, get to go, somewhere cool a couple of weeks, and stuff like that. What happened is none of that happened. It was sorry to say, it was really a drag. It was a real downer. But I got spun up, hoping I was going to get to go over to GW1. And we got that fantastic briefing from was he from Amrid? I don't remember, but it was this colonel who came down who was telling us all about the nerve agent pre-treatment that everybody was going to take before GW1 to prevent people from being, susceptible to nerve agents. Is we're going to block everybody's receptor sites by having them take these really small doses of physostigmine, and it's going to block the receptor sites. And then if the Iraqis do use a nerve agent on everybody, it's not going to have the effect, and we're going to win the day and stuff like that. And I can remember at the time, because, I was like a fourth year biochemistry student. And I was like, I don't think it's going to work the way you think it's going to work. And then I ended up not deploying. I think that was a good thing. And, years later, we get Gulf War syndrome. And it's like, hey, man, I knew dudes who it's like, right, their platoon sergeant lined everybody up and said, I'm going to watch you take this nerve agent pre-treatment because the order went out. And dudes gack themselves by taking physostigmine, and then we get Gulf War syndrome. Is there a link? Inquiring minds want to know. But the military very frequently does things like that where you get to be the guinea pig. And, they've said, double thumbs up, man, this is cool. And it's going to be the answer to all your problems. And then, years later, you forget, 1992 and, you poop in your pants when the microwave goes off and stuff like that. So.
Oh my God. I was going to try and segue off of that right before the microwave comment, but
Sorry.
Archangel had a question that he wanted to push forward for some of his guys. So we're going to turn the mic over to him for a second.
Yeah, with how you write and the fact that you go into the grueling details of everything. Like you talk about the performance, the setup, the execution, the after action reports, and everything. Like the comment said, you showcase the non-glamorous, and I know that comes from your experience with your school and everything. And the question is, if a civilian wanted to focus on one combat skill to practice to be better prepared for any situation, kind of like a blanket tactic or training method, what would you say that would be?
Well, somewhere in there in like those Kel's 75 rules that I put at the end of No Fail, just as kind of an entertainment exercise to get people into the head. Because part of what this is all about, it'll all come out when I get to the last book. I've already written the author's afterword to the Dark Operator series. I don't know when I'll get there, but it'll come up. There's many more books yet to come. But one of those is just simply this adage that the way to be dangerous is to be superiorly fit. There is simply no substitute that if you want to be hard to kill and that you want to be dangerous, if you're not fit, it's an uphill task. There is hardly any other skill that will help you to survive any situation as well as that daily attention you pay to your fitness, whatever that may be. Fitness and mindset are the inseparable links to being dangerous.
I like it. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
it's good to know, and it makes sense because you see all these SEAL movies and hear about these special forces and everything like that, and if you've never done it, you may think these guys are really into working out and being fit and being at the top, and they even talk about it. They're like, it's so important that you have to do this, because if you do that, then you don't really have to worry about a challenge that you can't hit.
I think it's part of it is it's good for your aggressiveness, it's good for your alertness, it's good for your situational awareness that you are able to be taxed and not lose that situational awareness. That's a big part of it. Anytime you're run down, you're tired, you're hungry, you're strained, you're fatigued, the farther and the harder you can go without that affecting you, you're simply better able to survive. And that's in any situation.
Awesome.
So I have an idea. Can we get a fucking wall scroll or like a poster where it has all of Kel's rules on it?
That would be amazing.
That'd be badass.
And like a K-17 like standing on its buttstock off to the side. I don't know, something like that. I think that'd be so super cool.
That'd be awesome.
Jason is the master of bringing our beautiful GE world to the fan. And the stuff on the GE commercial side is awesome, and that certainly might have become like wallpaper, do something like that at some point. I'm sure he's already thought about it.
I'm still waiting on my big Legion decal for my car.
Yeah, but how geeky would it be to? Because I haven't been in like an actual active duty barracks probably in 10, 15 years. But I mean, you'd walk down some of these I guy barracks, and you'd have posters of past stuff on the wall, but every once in a while you'd get to geek out because you'd see like Roger's rules of ranging, or you'd see, like some of the more simpler stuff that, just kind of breaks it down Sesame Street style so that the average dude can kind of grok it and do the job if he really had to. How cool would that be to have something like Kel's rules on the wall right beside something like that?
It would make me feel like, my life's purpose has been achieved. Actually, what I'm waiting on is I still don't even have one. I want one of the Velcro morale patches for like Kill Team 3 that I designed, that I still don't have one of the patches myself. Because I was shipping that on every Velcro bit that I got on my plate carrier and on all my Arcteryx stuff like that. I would pimp that everywhere.
Hell yeah.
Right now it's only available, I think, to people who like buy the combination of books, and you get the Kill Team 3 sticker and morale patch logo is like a super bonus. I'm hoping at some point that's just going to be available for sale on the G commercial site, because I would like a couple of dozen of them myself.
Well, you know what you got to do, Doc. You just got to buy your own books.
That's what I think it comes down to is I should be doing that. Is it not what
that's how they get you?
Do is like they go and buy all the L. Ron Hubbard books, to keep them in circulation forever as a bestseller. I just need to, like, every town I go into, go to a Barnes and Noble and like buy all the Dark Operator books.
Hell yeah. Yeah, but then, if you only get the one patch, if you give it out to like some stud who walks into Forge Tactical and like owns it, then you won't have one.
I'm sure that there's somebody out there who's going to produce them in quantity enough that we all have several.
Right on.
Jason,
right on.
I think he's talking about you, and you need to step up your game.
So
I am Bruce Lycan.
Ken Foster from the YouTube. He's I was about to ask a very similar question, but he's a former LEO. He went into computer science, but like it or not, how do you come down from hyper alertness that usually comes from operating in such a heavy op tempo? It took me years not to worry about direction block number.
Yeah, what a tough deal. I write about that in the books. I think by the end of book 3, there's a I finished book 3 setting this vignette where our hero, the accumulated stress of living under constant combat and having to be hyper alert and always
spoiler alert, by the way,
condition yellow, takes its toll on him in a way that at a time where he doesn't really expect it. And that comes up for all of us. I probably didn't deal with it as well as other people did. And I did the same thing when I punched out and was trying to make it in the civilian world, where trying to come out of being at condition yellow all the time can be tough, Mm-hmm. And it takes a big stress on you. Our law enforcement officers never have a moment where the potential for them having to insert themselves into a violent situation is with them 100% of the time. They have about the toughest job out there that there is. A civilian, no matter you're a trained and lawfully armed civilian, a responsible person, you do not have a duty to act. A sworn law enforcement officer has a duty to act, whether he's on duty or not. Those guys are woo-woo, choo-choo. Those guys are on it all the time. So it is very difficult, and it's hard to come home and not take that out on your family, or not, and being a reactive person instead of somebody who can, put that in a box and put it to a side when your wife and your kids need your attention. It's a very big struggle. It's a very big struggle. I am the first person to always say, surround yourself with like-minded people who understand you. You don't have to spend any time talking about how you all understand each other. It's not a time to get together and braid each other's hair and do things like that, but just simply finding that outlet and being in that environment where you don't have to explain yourself and why you are the way you are, I think is one of the most important things for anybody to do who's ever had to carry the gun for a living. You know, going out and insulating yourself from all of it, I think, is the worst possible thing you can do. I've had that pleasure for years of, especially like with EAG, where we ran primarily weapon operator classes, and having guys who would come out once, twice, 3 times a year. We're coming out for like a 3-day carbine operator course to be back with the tools that they used on the job, and being with the kind of people who they preferred to be with was their decompression to deal with the other days, weeks, and months of their life between that period of time. So whatever that outlet is for you, you need to figure out what that is, and you need to exercise it frequently.
Yep.
Right on. And speaking of outlets, you know, a lot of people they see movies and stuff like that, and it's either like basic training environment, even after training, and that's a mistake that you constantly see, or it's like so hard nails, like, you know, I am the one who will end this war kind of deal, and they don't realize that like soldiers are just goofy dudes, like really goofy dudes. Yeah, what's some of the like the more hysterical practical jokes that you guys have played on each other?
Blair Witch Project.
What's that now? I'm talking about to Doc.
Oh.
Like
Well,
when you were out and stuff.
Sure, everybody has their own special ones. On my last team, we went through a really long period of time where we were IEDing each other, which was certainly great. So it was great. I shared a room with my senior commo man, and we would all booby trap each other's team lockers in different ways, and your desks and stuff like that. And the best was my senior demo man, you know, knocked on the door and came in. He goes like, "Hey, I'm gonna booby trap Tim's bed. He thought he got away. You know, he got over me on that last one. You know, so we used to have these old school, you know, maybe those of you old enough or you've seen pictures of them, the old like cuboid camera flash cubes. That's exactly what they were. And then they make a really bright, beautiful flash. And when you put that in series on an electrical system and that goes off. So yeah, anyway, he like, you know, had the nice contacts separated by my buddy's sheets, and the bulb was sitting right there under the sheets, you know, so I wasn't going to blow it. You know, I laid there in the dark pretending to be asleep. You know, I wasn't going to give my buddy a heads up. And anyway, in the blackness of night, just be looking and waiting for him to turn the sheets down and have that beautiful image of him standing in blue light from the camera flash bulb going off, and just seeing his surprised face. And he laid in the dark, and all I saw was the burning ember of a cigarette for the next hour as he thought about how that would have been his demise. It was a beautiful thing. It devolved from there really rapidly into to other things that involved animals and feces, but I don't want to go into that.
Oh my God! Let's go around the room real quick. For those of you guys who have worn the uniform and gotten your practical joke on, what's some of the things that you've done? You want to go first, Matt?
I've done things. We've done all the usual shit, you know, like the left-hand screwdriver. The long wait's my favorite. This is just pogue shit, by the way. So the long wait, for those who aren't aware, is that you send someone to a mechanical section and tell them, "Oh, can you just go down and grab me a long wait, or go down for a long wait?" They're like, okay. They think it's a long wait itself. It literally means a long wait, and then the bloke on the other end's like, "Yeah, wait here, mate." 3 hours later, they finally click in. Yeah,
classic.
I've been tied to a pallet and put up in the racks for 4 hours.
Very nice, very nice. right? Going
There's a
on
couple I can't.
for grid squares, send the
Oh,
good
bloody hell.
grid
Yep.
squares is good, classic, never goes away, right? What's another? An airborne unit sending the cherry out for riser lights for the
Yep.
parachute.
Riser grease too. Yep.
You know, in a motor pool, you know, sending the dude out for blinker fluid.
Yeah, yep.
I was an engine mechanic for F-15s, and we used to send the new guys to the tool crib for a PE-PSI valve. And we said, take some change with it. You're gonna have to buy it because it's a specialty item. And he'd go ask the tool sergeant, and the tool sergeant would go, "Yeah, man, come on in. It's around the corner, and there's a vending machine right there, and it's a Pepsi machine." He's like, "Go take that back to your guy." And he'd either come back with a Pepsi or he'd come back pissed, and either way, it was a win.
Exactly. No matter what the result is, outcome achieved.
Right on. So, like dovetailing off of that, you know, you got some gallows humor that goes on like during a firefight, even though like, you know, Kel is mostly business most of the time, but like they periodically they start throwing jokes in back and forth when they're getting shot at. What's some of the inspiration for that? Do you have like times when you guys were behind the trigger? You know,
man, there's always something funny that happens. I think I even put something like that into the rules. You know, where it's like you got to always look at the humor in any situation, and like sometimes the worst situations, you know, the funniest things come out of them. And you know, I've put some in there. Some of the funniest, you know, I can remember we were on one mission in Bolivia. This was not a shoot 'em up story, but we were on a mission in Bolivia working with the Bolivian Rangers. And the Bolivian Rangers, very famous, were trained by SF in the 60s, and they're the unit who got Che Guevara. I knew quite a bit about the incident because I knew people were involved. Years later in El Salvador, I ran into an agency case officer named Max Gomez, who was actually the case officer with the Bolivian Rangers and was the last American to see Che Guevara alive. At the time when I knew him in El Salvador at Ilopango, I didn't know that was him. I only found out years and years later that that's who it was. So, you know, another brush with greatness, but I digress. Anyway, most of the time you're in a foreign country, and all you guys who deployed, you know, it doesn't matter where you are. It's sometime you're going to get like some kind of screaming trots from water, food, just the environment you're in or things like that. And there was something in Bolivia because no matter how much we treated water and treated food, or then you got to do all that stuff where you're always swapping rations and, you know, you're always doing all these crazy things to keep yourself in with the people you're working with. You know, everybody just got the screaming shits. And we're all sitting around the team hoot. And, you know, on our little RTEP evaluator stools, you know, cooking some lurps on a fuel tab. That's a type of ration. And, you know, one guy sneezes and just dumps like 5 pounds of wet hamburger in his silky, you know, and then the next dude like points and laughs so hard. He does about the same, you know. And anyway, needless to say, that sets off the chain reaction where like half the team has like just suddenly like dumped like I say like 10 pounds of ground beef in their silkies. There's no running water or anything else like that. So we're all I did it too. We're all standing outside waiting for the monsoon to come so we can like wash the shit out of our bodies and, you know, off our clothes and stuff like that. And it's just, you know, you're fucking miserable at the time. I mean, how god awful is that? You know, I have not written that into one of the books.
Do it.
Funny as
I think you should.
You know, I remember we had a great guy, wonderful guy. I'm still friends with him on Facebook, who I was on a team with, who it's just like every bad thing in the world happened to him. He was just that kind of a shit magnet. And God, there's so many of them now. I even forget where I was going with this, but it was just one of those things. We were in Panama, and we were on Pina Demo Range, and we just had like a week of team training. And anywhere we deployed, we could bring back anything into country that we could bring back. You know, so if we could bring back, you know, cases of Chi-Com grenades from Peru, or bring back, 40 Mike that had been sitting in an arms room, for 30 years in Venezuela or whatever. We'd snag all that shit and bring it back for our home team training. But anyway, I can't remember how we got onto it, but I'm a big fan of the old M79. The bloop tube was my friend. And even though I had an M203, I carried a Car 15 and an M79 a lot and did very well with them. But we're all standing there on the line on Pina Demo, just doing some training with our 203s and our M79s. And, our weapons guy, you always train each other and, you do the same thing, do it in whatever language you're going to work in for your team. You're just always doing that for team training and things like that. And our senior weapons guy had just gone back through on the M79. It had a tangent sight on it. And with the tangent sight flipped down, I can't remember exactly, but it's good for like point of aim out to like 50 meters. And I can see my partner sitting right in front of us, like 25 yards away, is like a hulk of an old Jeep. And I can see him. He takes the M79 sight and he flips the tangent down. And I see him. He's looking at it. And there you go. And he's looking at this pile of dead Jeep about 25 yards away, and he's looking at the M79, and he just suddenly takes an HE, drops it in the tube, whips that bad boy up, and aims it right at this Jeep like 25 yards in front of us. And it's like the slow motion. No. Not only that, but we're aiming downhill, and he whips that bad boy up, cranks this, and I can't remember what the number of rotations is or the distance to arm the HE on an M79. Whatever it was just enough that it had armed. It hit that bad boy, and it sprays the entire line with shrapnel. And I used to wear Army birth control glasses.
Oh, yeah.
That a piece of shrapnel came right by, knocked those fucking birth control glasses right off my face. The shrapnel goes whipping past us. Everybody's standing on the line. And we all just looked at this dude and shook our head at the training. It's like, come on, man. It's like, it's bad enough we got other people shooting at us. You got to try and kill us too. Good.
So that's how blue on blue happens, huh?
And this is why we cannot have nice things.
Absolutely. So, one of many daily occurrences in Johnny's life where funny things happened that weren't so funny at the time.
So I've got an announcement for you. Whatever. I messaged when you were talking, Doc. I messaged Jason and I said, "What's up? You don't have the effing patches. Fix it." And he said to tell you November.
I knew Jason was already on it. Jason's on everything. The boss has a plan. The boss always has a plan, and it's always, I'll email him and say, it's already done. Believe me, man. Believe me. The boss has always got a plan, and it's always awesome.
Does Jason like that attack dog that can just get stuff done?
Does Jason? Yeah. Does Jason always send you back a message, saying yes, and they won't stop us now? Because he sent me that a couple times. I'm like, who's they?
Believe me, the whole world is they. Audible and Amazon and everybody are the they.
Right on. They got some weird stuff. We got Exigency coming next. When does that drop?
It is in time for Christmas, 21 December. It's available for pre-order now. Sweet. And it was a favorite. It takes things in a little different direction. The hints at the end of book 3, where Kel is obviously come under the notice of some evil, bad people, comes to fruition in book 4 in Exigency. And he has to deal with that by himself, and then he is able to turn to his friends and get some extra help to resolve the issue. And it was very satisfying because I was able to build the story over the first 3 books, and I kind of am able to finish a major part of that in book 4. So if you feel like you've been left hanging on a few tidbits out there, a few Easter eggs, a big part of that will wrap up in book 4, and it'll be very satisfying or none of your money back.
I figured it was something like that because I was like, he touched on that at the beginning of that one book. I guess he'll pick it up later on. We'll see. So I'll be kind of cool to hear.
The reality is, with all in that world, everybody's heard of the gray man. Well, let me tell you, when you were working with some of those people, you want to be the grayest of gray men. You would like for them not to even see you or know your face or what you have done. Many times in many situations when you are working out of an embassy or a mill group, or you're working on a special project, the ideal situation is they see you when you come into country and they don't see you again until you leave country. And everybody is happiest when that goes on. There were times, especially during my period of time where whatever you were doing, it had to be solved by a Band-Aid or a body bag, because anything in between, someone was going to jail. Because everything had to be very low vis. They wanted no attention, no blowback on the government, especially that period of time, my period of time in the 80s in Central and South America, counterinsurgency, counter-narco-terrorism. The things that we were doing was exactly that, is we want you to get the job done, but you can't do A, B, C, D, or E, and you sure as hell can't go kinetic. And so it's the typical thing that I say that's different about SF than most other places is that you're expected to get the job done no matter what, whatever it takes, and you're expected to do it without anybody knowing it. And it's what it means to be a silent professional. You don't seek the limelight. You don't look for recognition. The recognition happens in the team room, and it happens from other teams, and it happens on the weekend when you stick your head into the Decade Club and people know you just came back from somewhere. And that's where the recognition comes from being a silent professional. So that kind of stuff happens a lot. Still happens.
Right on. Now we're cresting over the backside of an hour, and let me tell you, it goes fast when you have when you got targeted questions and good people to deliver them. What I was going to say is you touched on a little while ago. We had a question that you kind of answered a little bit in the Facebook group from Pat Andrews. He was talking about the emotional toll and kind of how book 3 ended. And how that it shows that by the end of book 3, Kel is things are heavy on his shoulders because of everything he's gone through so far, especially after rolling right into 3 from the events of 2, where so much was lost. But before
that was a great touch at the end of the book, by the way.
Oh yeah, hell yeah,
very kind. Well, part of it is the real world of. It's what you want as a young man. What do you want? You want mission, 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 mission. I did that myself where I was at, it's like, hey man, you could dive out to the school, but it's going to put you out of rotation for a team mission. And when you come back home, you ain't going to have a team there. You got another Action Man badge or you did all this, but you missed this mission. It's like, no, I'm here to go on missions. And, sometimes, it's like I say, that mission, you get what you want when you put yourself in that situation, but you get a few years of that stacked on top of each other. And, whether you believe it can happen to you or not, you get burned out and you get stressed out and, and bad things sometimes happen to guys.
Right on. Before we jump back into the APC, hit the repulsors, and then, glide back to our the safety of our carrier, we should go around the table. If anybody else has some parting questions, John, if you don't mind, somebody could throw 1 or 2 more at you.
I'll try.
All right, JR, you got anything from a man?
Nope, I'm good.
Yeah, you would say that.
I am never the guy that at the end of the briefing, when they say any questions, that ask the questions.
Right on.
Yeah, you've been taught your whole life the guy who asks the questions is the dumbass. The only stupid question is the one you ask. That's what I always told dude.
Right on.
Oh, God bless you, JR. You're right on.
How about it, Knucklehead? You got something?
I'm good. I'm just chugging along through the books and excited to get into this more.
Hell yeah. Archangel, what do you got?
Did Gothsolus do anything wrong in your opinion, Doc?
Absolutely not. Same thing. When in the Star Wars world, I'm an Empire man.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. I love it.
Hell yeah.
I need that.
Daniel, you got something?
The only thing I'd bring up is what we said, what we were talking about in the pre-show about how, for those that don't know and are listening on the audio version of Dark Operator books, G is for gorillas, not Z or G, as in
you
the dogs.
Shut your mouth. You shut your mouth.
No, thank you for bringing that up.
They can't be confused like I was for the first hour. I'm just like,
poor dudes. Yeah, it's awesome. Our actor Stephen Dexter, who is, by the way, awesome. I just love the guy. That guy put so much heart and time into making these characters come alive. Part of it, the Z are donks, ZHEE. In Audible and other productions, it just kind of ended up being pronounced like the Chinese G, which is XI if you were to spell it in English. And Jason and Nick just said, yeah, I guess there's G. I guess that's how it is. It just kind of is. So we went, as an author, you give a pronunciation guide for your book to your actor for them to follow or disregard as may be. Like the poor dude who said corpseman, throughout Nick and Jason's book, which was a heartbreaker. But what are you going to do? But in No Fail, right, term for guerrilla, you call your guerrillas, your unconventional, locally recruited warriors, you call them Gs, capital G for gorilla. So our narrator just kind of, I don't know how it ended up, but like G sounded like Z, sounded like G, sounded like, so it's like, wait a minute, they're dealing with these dudes who are like, they're kind of sound like they're like, West German, analog kind of people, but then they're calling them G in the book. So are they donks or that? So yeah, real confusing for dudes. So it's like I say, my best recommendation is always you buy the paperback and you download the Kindle and you listen to the Audible, and between all of it, you really get the best experience. That's
or you use WhisperSync and you get the ebook and it'll keep up with you.
Yeah, exactly. What a wonderful world of technology we live in.
That's the other thing. By the way, if you get the Kindle version, you can actually get the books a lot cheaper if you just go WhisperSync from there. It's ridiculous.
Who knew?
But yeah.
Who knew?
Daddy, you got anything?
Yeah, Dad, you got anything?
I just want to say, man, hey, awesome work. I'm on part 4 of Galaxy's Edge at the tail end, so I'm still catching up. And on my drive from California to Texas, because I had to drive a U-Haul, it was awesome. I was just like a zombie on the wheel, just the damn G now got all this stuff, and oh man, God's solid, and I want more. So I mean, you got me, you got me re-addicted in the books. So it just gets better and better.
Thank
you guys.
Those boys have created an awesome universe, and it's still cranking along. I'm really proud to have a small part of it, but it's like
you're a part of it still.
Thank you. People understand it's like dark. Yeah, people opine, man, I don't get these Dark Operator. It's like, oh man, it's like it's different than the other stuff. It's tough to come into like a well-established universe and say, okay, I'm doing something different with it, because it doesn't necessarily, attract the person who, you're it's like watching a movie or you're watching a series and then they change the actor in the second season. It's like, what the hell? Yeah. I don't like this guy, but for my stuff, I haven't written like space marine or space opera novels. They're thrillers, and that's the genre they're listed under, correctly so, under Audible and Amazon. They are military science fiction thrillers, which is to put the reader into that position of what would I do if I was this character? how it's like, I think was it Frederick Pohl? It was a really great author who talked about, escapism is great. A really good author can entertain and he can also teach. And I have very much tried to make that part of the mantle of what I'm doing with all of this, is trying to teach and make things not just be blasters and lightsabers, but try to have some kind of plausibility and some kind of actual real world experience to it for the reader. So
something relatable for people.
Dudes are really getting it. And, but there's the occasional person who it's just crushed their world that it's not what it isn't. So sorry.
I'm looking forward to the books.
You will enjoy them.
Right on. Last but not least, Nether Ops Matt. Did I catch him?
He got me though. I've got nothing, honestly. I've got nothing at the moment. I've just been listening in pretty much this whole time. So
right
it's been therapeutic for what I'm doing right now. So yeah, thank you. Thanks, Doc, once again.
Oh,
stop drinking so many energy drinks, Matt.
It is an honor to serve. I'll just say one cool thing before you split out. I had a cool thing happen today. Next month is the 50th anniversary of Operation Ivory Coast, which was the Sante raid into North Vietnam. I got invited today to go to Scottsdale, Arizona, and the Dillon Ranch next month to honor the surviving Sante raiders. And there's a documentary being filmed about the Sante raid. And I got invited with some of my other SF, SEAL, and Ranger buddies to do the reenactment of the assault on Sante that's going to be filmed for the documentary.
Hell yeah.
That was a big honor. I'm really looking forward to that. When I get back from that, I'll have some stories to tell you, but that will be the 2020 has been a great year for me.
Same here. Same here.
But oh god, when you come back from the reenactment, would you want to come on and maybe drop some knowledge on us about that?
Oh, I would love. I'm sure there will be a lot of great stories coming out of there. I served with a couple of Sante raiders, just like I was mentored by a lot of SOG and Special Forces Dead A Berlin guys. And they were the most awesome group of human beings a young SF trooper could have ever learned from. And we can, there are awesome things been going on in the GWAT, but that is a generation and the things they accomplished that the world really needs to know about. So yeah, I would love to be able to talk about all of that for people who are interested. It's a real education that everybody should have.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And Walt, one last thing.
Man.
So me and Matt, we were talking about doing a charity stream again.
Cool.
And we're thinking at the end of November, we're going to do a Mission 22 stream. I know Matt's already got a 24-hour one planned earlier on, if I'm correct.
Possibly 72, but I will tell you about that soon.
72 hours?
November.
You're going to be awake for 72 hours, bro.
I'm training at the moment to do a massive Mission 22 and Soldier On stream where I spend an entire week in VR.
Oh my God.
Where I eat and sleep and work in VR, and that's it. I want to beat the world record, so I plan on doing that March next year.
World record.
The tenacity.
Crutch. You don't need sleep.
Yeah.
One of the games that we were going to be doing was actually going to be Beat Saber, which is the rhythm, sword fighting game, and typically after an hour. Yeah, he got his fixed, but typically after an hour of doing that game, your arms actually get really sore and you're sweating. And, it's a pretty fun workout. But I want to see if Matt can push it up to 8 hours. I want to see if we can push it up to 8 hours and see who folds first. If the civilian can beat the Air Force logistics forklift driver.
Special Forklift Operations Division, mate.
It's a very special kind of training. You had to build that endurance up.
Because GE has supported Mission 22 quite a lot in the past too, and my last big 24-hour stream with Mission 22 was in Elite Dangerous, where I flew the distance of the galaxy and back in 27 hours, and we raised over 3,000 USD.
Hell yeah, man!
That is Studley.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
That was mostly thanks to the GE community. So a fucking excellent effort.
Make sure you get some links in so that we can forward people to the right spots, and then come on your stream and what do you call it? Drop all sorts of subs and gifts and stuff like that, and get some support to those guys.
Yep.
But another thing, real quick before we lock it out, we're almost at 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel.
Wow.
So it's like 800 plus. If you're watching this show, you enjoy the content, you enjoy what we're doing, and you want to see even more stuff, get us to that 1,000 mark and get us beyond it. Because what can happen is at that point it unlocks certain special features and allows a different level of interaction with the people who are watching live, and it just gets things to a real another level. So if you can take 15 seconds out of your day, or while you're even watching this, right? Put your finger on the trigger, mash that like and subscribe button, and apparently somebody approves. Like and subscribe, get us over the hump, so that way we can get more guys like Doc on and talk about how the real world military relates to the stuff that goes on in Galaxy's Edge. I don't know. Maybe I'll even break down and bring a Marine on here. We did have Michelle Myers on.
We had Goose.
Yeah. Michelle technically used to be a Marine, even though now we've seen otherwise. But So and I don't want to.
Let me tell you, that is an awesome human being right there,
right?
Who is doing fantastic things. My heart soars like an eagle. He is so awesome. I'm
like to see the new job that she just slammed her feet into. It was like, wow.
No one deserves it more. Because she is still out there doing it. The G fan can't really be turned on to who she is in the real world. But let me tell you, what she is out there doing is utterly fantastic. And God, I'm so proud that she's a member of the family.
Ken Foster used to be. Is that possible as a Marine? She has crossed the line from Marine to Army. So she went from your side, and now she's on my side. So there,
go Army.
You damn straight. If you get that motivation, please hit the like and subscribe. Get us over the hump. We'll get some people on here. Right now, I'm in the midst of learning how to speak English again, but I'm in the midst of trying to get on a couple of fighter pilots, some who are well known. I'm trying to get on
Featherheads.
Get on some Navy dudes.
I'm a Navy guy. Well, former Navy guy.
Well, then we need to get you on.
Sure.
He's been on before.
I'm kidding.
I've been on before.
Right, but what do you call it? So bring in some different services and kind of relate them how they how that real world stuff kicks back into GE. But that being the case, Mission 22 coming up for the month of November. We really want to support that cause, because too many of our brothers and sisters are feeling like there's no hope, no life, and no love left in the world after they get back from deployment. And we really need to show them that the Galaxy's Edge community can turn that the other way and get people going back toward the positive, and taking that military experience that they had that might not have been as good for them, but they can take that experience and turn it into something positive for somebody else in their periphery. So if you got just a second, head on over to Mission 22, see what they're all about. Come back, check out GE, because Jason and Nick have already said that they're going to be donating big with what they do through their sales, and as well as maybe some contributions that you guys can give as well. Because like I said, with everything that has gone on in the last 10 to 20 years, keeping it real for our veterans and giving them a sense of hope when they come home. Looking back to those the men like that Doc was trained by. I know I was trained by a couple of guys that Panama, Grenada, even guys from back far as back as Vietnam. Some of these guys came back, and they came back to no love and no sense of pride in their from their country, even though they carried the pride from their country to the places they went to support us. So, take a minute, thank the people who really gave it to you, and then keep them from making that move, that permanent solution to a temporary problem. It might not seem it at the time, but even so much as hey man, how you doing today, can go a long way into taking what could be just a momentary bit of sadness and making it into something very permanent that too many funerals in the last couple. But bringing it back to the other side, Doc, thank you so much for coming out.
Time.
Like I said, man, when you're ready to come back and talk about the reenactment and getting together and celebrating those veterans and what they had to go through, we'd really love to have you on and hear about it.
Yeah, absolutely. It will happen.
Damn Skippy. All right, guys. So I'm going to hit the button. Make sure your suits are all locked in because vacuum sucks. That was a joke. Please don't hate me for it.